All right, everybody, welcome to another Old Town Pro Team Spotlight. My name is Jeff Malott. I'm part of the 2022 Old Town Pro Team. I am excited to have a panel of my teammates tonight from the Old Town Pro Team. We got Mark Pendergraf, Jimmy McClurkan, and Ryan Matylewicz with us tonight. We're going to get to know them a little bit. It's going to be a fun little segment here, getting to know some of the pro staff members or pro team members. And we're going to go round robin, ask them all a few questions. All right, first, we're going to go with Possum King, Mark Pendergraf, last year's Bassmaster Kayak Series champion. Just tell us where you're from, man. Where you out of?
I am from Fort Worth, Texas.
All right. Ryan, how about you, man? Where you from?
I'm actually in Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania, in the northeastern part of the state.
Okay. And Jimmy McClurkan, last but not least, man. Where you out of?
Silver Point, Tennessee, up by up by Cookville, Tennessee.
Just up in Tennessee. I got you. What you got behind you? You got a pile of rods back there, man. Share the wealth. Rod tubes, anyway.
Some of my yak rods.
I got you. We'll just stay with you, man. Tell us a little bit about your fishing background. Did you fish since you were a little kid, or when did you get into just fishing in general?
I have fished since I was a kid. My dad, I was fortunate enough to have a father that took me hunting or fishing about every weekend, and the passion just really never died. And I fished out of a big bass boat for 10 years for C&O Marine out of Middle Tennessee. And then just had an opportunity to buy into my company. So I got out of the fishing game for a bit and was itching to get back in and watch some kayak fishing on TV late one night and thought I can do that. And the rest is history. 3 years ago, I guess 18 is when I jumped in and been here ever since and love it. Love the sport, love the community.
Ryan, how about you, man? What's your background fishing in general, especially bass fishing?
Yeah, I mean, similar story. I grew up fishing my whole life. You know, my dad, we used to have we have a little state park by us. There'd be like the little kid derbies that they have where you win the fishing poles and stuff. I used to go to them and sit from the bank and fish. And then throughout the most of my life, I would go and just be a pond fisherman, you know. And it was about 4 years ago I started hitting lakes and bigger lakes and just got into the kayak kind of scene and started entering a little bit of the tournaments just for fun at first. And then it kind of took over from there, you know, and then I just ended up fishing pretty much 10 to 15 events a year now.
It's awesome. Mark, what about you, buddy? And I'm going to tell you one thing I love about this panel is the variety of accents. We got Pennsylvania, Tennessee, we got a little Texas. We got a lot of flavor in this panel. But go ahead, Mark.
I grew up fishing as well. I grew up with my dad taking me on like guided striper trips on Lake Texoma, trout trips in Colorado, stuff like that. And I didn't really take on bass fishing very much, mainly pond, crappie, catfish. And I picked up kayaking and bass fishing about 7 years ago, hand in hand, and haven't stopped since.
What got you into the kayak side of tournament fishing? How did you fall into this addiction, man?
So I saw a blow up kayak at Academy. I was like, man, I can get on that and just go out. We had a little lake by our house called Marine Creek. I was like, I just go out there and fish, give me something to do because I had just learned how to target bass in a pond and I wanted to catch them in a lake. So we bought the inflatable, and that lasted about 2 months. And then I bought a Wilderness Commander, and the guy that's just shop that I bought from goes, hey, they have tournaments, fishing tournaments for these kayaks. And a month later, I was entered in a cats event down on Houston County and ended up winning the social division, and been going ever since now.
Yeah, you jumped right in. Cats was huge. That was the gold standard forever.
It was, yeah. It was pretty intimidating, especially the pro division. I won the social division with like 72 inches or something like that. And then all the guys that have been doing it come up for the pro division. They're like 106. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Now, did you bass boat fish at all? Like, did you have that kind of tournament experience first, or was it straight from the bank to the kayak and into tournaments?
Straight from the bank to the kayak and into tournaments.
I like it. So you're a true OG in the kayak scene.
Yes, sir.
Ryan, what about you, man? How did you make that move to get into kayak fishing tournaments or kayak bass fishing tournaments, I should say?
I bought a kayak actually. I was going to do a boat, but with my dad. Actually, his one of his good friends that he used to fish and hunt with on every weekend passed away. And as an effort to kind of get him out of his slump, it was like his best friend, you know, the guy he hung out with all the time. I ended up buying 2 kayaks and started kind of taking him on the weekends and just going fishing and doing stuff to spend some more time with him. And from there, I mean, we ended up just going for fun. I think we went to Kentucky Lake actually, and I had no major lake experience at all. And I had no clue what I was doing. I was out there fishing deep. I ended up catching some smallmouth out in the middle. It didn't do very well, and it was fun. And then we went to St. Clair that year, and that was my first year. I guess that was probably about 4 years ago now. And we fished the St. Clair event up there, which was a good time. And then the following year, we decided we were going to fish the KBF event. So then we fished like the whole trail, the whole KBF trail. And then I've been like 3 years in a row fishing, well, not the whole trail, but all the Northeast within travel range. We've been fishing them ever since here now. So
Yeah. What drives you to stay out there and compete in these tournaments, man? Are you just a competitive person by nature, or
yeah,
pushes you?
I'd say competition's a big part of it, but being able to be out there, the kayak scene. I have a bass boat too, but what differentiates the bass boat compared to the kayaks for me is I have a couple of good buddies that like to fish. My dad likes to fish, and it really kind of eliminates the opportunity to spend time and go fishing with these guys, like from a boat perspective. Where in the kayaks, we can actually all go out and all compete. We all go our own separate way, but we can kind of have that camaraderie together and hang out together afterwards and whatnot. And it's just a unique type situation where I'm able to go out, still compete, get that competitive nature involved with my friends and family as well, without having to worry about like the boat where I get like a random co-angler per se.
Yeah. Are you competing on the bass boat side too?
Next year we have some stuff that we're going to announce, but as of this year, some local stuff, but nothing major.
Okay. Jimmy, you already mentioned that you came from that side. You were fishing on the bass powerboat side, tournament fishing. How did you make the move over to kayaks?
Like I said, I fished out of that big boat from 05 to like 14 was my last big Z21 that I had. And I had an opportunity to buy into my company and didn't want to have. I was buying in and plus renovating a farm, so I got rid of my boat, and it took me about 2 years to get all that worked out. And one night just had the itch that I had to get back to fishing. I had a pond on my place, and I was fishing it every day. And seen Chad Hoover fishing at midnight on TV, one of his KBF shows. And I thought, man, I've got to do that. And they had the national championship down on Kentucky Lake, and I had just missed it that year. So I thought, man, I've got to do this. So I went and bought as nice a kayak as I could get right off. I wanted to dive head first in it, and I did. And fortunate enough to get Old Town as a sponsor now. And my garage, if I could turn my phone around, it's just littered with Old Towns and trailers. But love it, love the camaraderie, and like Ryan, I've got friends that I go with, and I fished around Ryan on several of these tournaments, and his dad and Nick, and it's just a big community. I love all the guys, and I love the competition. Don't get me wrong; it's when you get out there, I want to beat every one of them.
So all three of you guys have been very successful on whatever trail you've chosen to fish, whether it's KBF, bass, whatever. I've seen all your names at tops leaderboards and seen your pictures on podiums holding big checks and everything. But through that, so far in the kayak tournament fishing world, what's your most memorable moment? We'll start with you, Jimmy, since you're already there.
Probably making the 10 the first year. That was I wanted to make the national championship my first year, and I made that. I won one event and made that, and went to that one and just flopped. Just let it get in my head and completely flopped. The second year I got serious. Wanted to try to make the 10, and I was fortunate enough to make the 10. And this past year doubled up and did it again. And this past year my goal was not only make the 10 but win a national event, and I did that. So so all of them I think all of the big wins. I don't have a big win like Mark and Siddiqui just got and those, but the national level wins and the 10 are pretty cool.
Let me tell you something I've learned. I've been doing this since about 2011 and fished bass boat tournaments before, just like you. Every win, whether on any level, and they're all hard. Local tournaments, regional tournaments, online tournaments, it doesn't matter. They're all hard, to win. So yeah, you've had a lot of great success out there. Ryan, what about you, man? How what sticks out to you so far as a memorable moment?
Yeah, you said that, and I just kind of started thinking, and it has to be. I think it was 2020 was the year. It was the Lake George event. I went up and fished it, and I was just doing my thing up on the north side of the lake, and it was like terrible service, right? And I was fishing throughout the day, and I was catching some good ones, nothing like crazy. And I went, I had got to get up a pretty good bag, and I was going to submit my fish. I had service issues, so I got off the lake, and I had to drive like 4 or 5 miles, and then I submitted the fish, and I finally found another one. I had to like submit my 5th fish, and I looked at the leaderboard, and like I just saw that I was in first place, and like the tournament was like pretty much last minute, and I won the tournament. I had no idea because the service was just bad, and I got everything to go through. And man, I was just like so pumped. I got one of those little KBF coins that champion, first place, and it was just like mind blowing. And then it was also special because my fiance Kelsey was there with me. My mom, my dad, they were all like we took a bunch of trips, and other friends and family members were there too at a campground on the lake. So it was just surreal, kind of going back there and hanging out and being able to like just celebrate that with them and have that be like my first win. So it was pretty exciting.
That's awesome, Mark. I think I know what you're going to say, dude. I have a pretty good idea.
No shot.
But if not, then maybe you can shock us with something else.
I mean, definitely the most notable win that I've had is the Bassmaster Championship. But I'd probably say, and it wasn't even a win that I had. That's my biggest memory. The North Texas Kayak Championship. It was the championship on Lake Athens one year, and my dad and my son Spencer came with me, and I think I placed. I didn't do very well. I think I got like 10th or 12th. But it put me in 7th of ALY on my first full season of bass fishing and a trail. But the best part was my son was at the ramp waiting for me. I pull up and he starts dragging on my kayak and stuff. And I think that's when he started really wanting to fish, and because he got to go to the fishery and everything. But that's just like one of the biggest memories that pops out to me is he was like trying to help me load up all my stuff there. But notable win is definitely the Bassmaster.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about your season so far, Mark, and what you got planned for the rest of it.
The season this year is not going very well, but we're getting there.
You got championship hangover? Is that what you got?
Pretty much. I'm in a pretty bad slump nationally. I think I've scored a total of 4 fish in national events, but I've done well on the local trail. I had a 15th place finish out of 115 or 116 on Fort for North Texas. Another 8th place finish on a Slay Nation tournament. The rest of the season, I think this is probably going to be my last bass event for the season. The other ones just aren't in the areas that I'm going to be at the time. I'm going to be hitting Hobie pretty hard. I'll be at Broken Bow, Chick, Susky, and probably Wolf and Fox. So,
I got you. Ryan, what about you, man? Have you gotten started yet this year? You've been in a few events already.
Yeah, so we started down in Kissimmee, and then we just did the Lake Murray, which we placed pretty well at. We had 2 good finishes there, and then we just Potomac. We just wrapped that up last weekend. I got a 2nd place there. That was a pretty solid go. So doing pretty solid. Can't complain this year. Haven't got a big looking for that another number 1. You feel like you're always in, like, that's what you tell everybody. Like, it's not first place isn't winning. You're getting a top 10 on the podium. You're winning. So first place just comes when it comes. It's not like something you can go plan for. So that's obviously the goal, is to get some more hardware at these KBF events. I'll be fishing one Hobie event coming up for sure, which would be the Susquehanna, as long as I can get in. Just 'cause it's a couple hours from home. I like the fishery. It's a good time. Looking forward to the Champlain event for KBF that's coming up, and Erie, St. Clair as well.
Jimmy, how about you, man? What you have planned for the rest of the year?
So like Ryan, I kicked it off at Kissimmee. I had a top 5 there, and my main goal this year was not to put the pressure on myself to make the 10 house again. So I just wanted to fish and have fun. So I entered more of the other 2 events. So I'm fishing some bass and some Hobie this year. I went down to the Harris Chain and cashed a check there. So it hadn't been a great season, but I've cashed a couple checks, and my next one is Gunnersville. I feel like I'll do pretty good there, knock on wood. And just fish a couple more KBFs. I think I've got 1 or 2 more bass, and I think two Hobie to fish. So just have fun, just fish and have fun this year.
I got you. Kind of let it come as it.
We also have the Kentucky Lake one. Don't forget about that one. Where I'm coming
I
down
know.
to Joyce from last year. I got to come find Joyce from last year because he won that one last year. So we're gonna go figure that out.
I got you on Kentucky Lake.
All right, so we're gonna go around the horn with a few quick questions. We'll start with Mark down there in the corner. Favorite technique, Mark? If you had to just take one technique to travel around with, what's your favorite?
Wacky rig.
Wacky rig. Just wacky Senko?
Wacky Senko.
Wacky Senko. All right. Ryan, what about you, man?
Yeah, I'd probably go the drop shot.
Drop shot? That sounds about right for northerner. I'm from the north, so I can call you a northerner. Jimmy, what about you, man?
I'm going to catch him on a jackhammer.
A jackhammer. Okay.
That's
I
right.
like that. Mark, favorite water type, favorite body of water? You like clear, deep, rocks, shallow, swampy, grass lake. What's your favorite kind of water to fish? If you could pick the perfect tournament setup to go fish.
So stained with some like grass coming out off the bank, not like really a grassy lake, but just something the fish can tuck under that I can punch in. That and reeds, man. Stained water with reeds and like alligator grass. That's perfect setup.
Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I'd say the super clear reservoirs with like 20-foot visibility, like where you're out in big rocky shoals, you know, you can go out and look down and see giant lake trout swimming around and watch like 50 smallmouth chase around a jerkbait. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. What about you, Jimmy? You can't like that clear water if you like the jackhammer. There's no way.
No. So I tried the clear water. I went up to St. Clair last year, and I was looking at the bottom in 14 feet like it was 2 foot below me. It was unreal. Had a good time, but if I had my favorite, I like fishing that Florida, that tannic water with that Kissimmee grass and reeds and some lily pads in it. That's my jam. If I could fish that all the time, I'd be all right.
Yeah. All right, Mark, tell us a little bit about what you're fishing out of this year. 1, 2, 3 boats. What rides are you running with this year?
Two boats this year. I got the Autopilot 136 and I got the PDL 132.
All right. Why'd you choose those in particular?
The big water PDL because it's one of the quickest pedal boats out there, and the Autopilot 136 because it's extremely stable and I can get out on really nasty days with it.
I got you. Ryan, what are you running this year, sir?
Yeah, right now I'm running the Autopilot 136 as my primary boat. I'm still kind of back and forth on what pedal kayak I'm going to go get because obviously I'm going to do one at the Hobie Susquehanna event because there's no way I'm pedaling or paddling that Autopilot around. But yeah, the Autopilot 136. And the reason I choose that boat is just because the stability is incredible. A lot of times I'm fishing on big water, like Great Lake water, and even in a bass boat, you know, that you get like those 4-footers out there, 3-footers, and I feel totally comfortable in the kayak, just kind of rolling up over top of them. And it's just, there's nothing better, big water and being able to spot lock and hold position, you know. And like Jimmy said, he was up in St. Clair. You fish a big water like that and you have any other boat and you catch a fish, by the time you weigh or measure it and drop it on the board and take a photo and everything, half the time you drift at 150 yards from the spot you caught it on. So being able to just lock down with spot lock, man, there's nothing like that.
Yeah. And Jimmy, you said you had a garage full of Old Towns. What's your go-to for tournament day?
So I got, like Mark, I've got the 136 and the 132 is my primary big boat, just for the fishability out of that Autopilot is just incredible. You got so much room for so much gear. It's incredible. And the like Mark said, I don't think there's a boat that pedals out as fast as that big water 132. And a super sneaky boat is I've got that MK 106.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I love that boat. For fishing down in Florida, I can chop through grass or pads and never slow down.
It eats pad stems, doesn't it?
Oh my God, that's such a sweet little boat. That's my Florida boat for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man. All great platforms, and funny listening to y'all. Everybody loves the Autopilot. The fact that it's kind of pre-wired and good to go out of the box. You really don't have to do anything to it other than add whatever electronics you're going to add.
Yep.
Everybody that gets in them seems to love them. I know people do a lot of aftermarket stuff, putting trolling motors on the front of different kayaks, but the way the Autopilot set up, perfect. Perfect. Love it.
Mhm.
Let's go around real quick. Mark, tell everybody where people can find you on social media, man. YouTube, Instagram.
Oh.
What do you got?
I got YouTube. I got Instagram. My YouTube is Possum King Fishing, Kang, Possum King. My Instagram is Pendergraf Fishing. My Facebook is Pendergraf Fishing. I've got a TikTok. It's just Pendergraf. But I'm all over trying to have fun with everything.
I got you. Ryan, what about you, man? What's your socials?
Yeah, my socials are both my name, so just Facebook.com/Ryan Matylewicz and Instagram.com/Ryan Matylewicz. Probably should choose something a little bit easier because the last name is a little intricate for some people to figure out, but that's what it is.
Matylewicz.
Yeah. And Jimmy, give us yours real quick, buddy.
So like Ryan, just my name, Jimmy McClurkan for Facebook, and at Jimmy McClurkan Fishing.
Awesome. All right. Well, there you have it, guys. Appreciate you guys taking the time to do the interviews here. Good luck the rest of the season. And that'll do it for another Old Town Pro Team Spotlight.